Lucy's dress has this really adorable floral collar. So I'm going to show you how you can easily use the existing dress as a pattern to make your own collar. I took an ordinary piece of computer paper and I folded it in half both ways so you can find the center right here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fit this paper right under the center of the neckline so I can trace the neckline. I've opened up the paper and I followed the curve. I found the middle of where I had the neckline before. I opened up the dress and I extended it up the paper, and this is going to tell you exactly how long to make the collar right here. To get that really pretty scallop look, I'm just kind of freehand what I think the scallops are gonna look like. This is kind of just a rough sketch, and you're gonna be cutting along these lines in a little bit. So after I've done my rough sketch, you can see I kind of went over a couple times. This is just gonna give you an idea of where to cut. Like even here, when you cut, just remember that it's gonna go out a little bit more. To cut the collar, you're gonna fold it in half this way and then cut along the lines. And now you created a pattern that's gonna fit perfectly on the collar. So now that you've cut it out, you're gonna take your white fleece and simply cut out the fleece. It's simple as that. So now we're going to create a cute little waistband. She has this little white waistband with some black piping. So what you're going to do is measure about how far you have across. So this one is about 13 inches across, and this is a size 6-7. So we're going to need, since this dress is about 13 inches wide, you're going to double it. So make it a little bit bigger than 26 inches. And I like the width to be about 2.75 inches. So this is my long ruler that I use with my rotary cutter to cut this straight edge. You can easily use a pair of scissors, but I'm also going to use this ruler to draw a little thin line all the way down here to help me with the piping. So eventually it is going to look like this once you paint over it, but to get that really straight line, just use a Sharpie and just do a small faint line like this. That way when you paint over it, it's right there for you. Go ahead and do the same thing with the scallop edge here. Because when you go over it with the paint, it'll tell you exactly where to go. I found that doing the marker first is a lot easier because with paint, it's so much harder to control. So the collar and the waistband look really good. They've been drying overnight. So these are ready to go. And all you need to do right now is sew this part right here, the collar, and along the waistband. So let's start with the collar. What I've done is that I pinned it in place starting in the center, and just place it on the sides here. If you don't have pins, that's fine. You're basically gonna start at one end and either hand sew this right to the top, or you can also use your sewing machine too. So here's the collar. I just sewed it directly on. You don't have to finish any of the edges or turn it inside out or anything. Just sew it directly on the top. And in the back, I left this a little bit open, so it's gonna be really easy to snap. So cute. For the waistband, I'm just gonna go right over the skirt line. The most important part when you're pinning it in place or getting ready to sew it is that you make sure that you go through only the top layer. You don't want to pin all the way through the dress. After you've sewn this, you're going to have to figure out a way to close the waistband itself. So in order to do that, you're going to flip the right sides together like this. And then you're going to sew these together. That's all done. You have your cute little Lucy dress. I didn't think it was too hard of a sew. You're basically just sewing a straight line here, and this is practically a straight line up here. The hardest part is just probably making the collar pattern and just waiting for paint to dry.